Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
This is Season 1, Episode 17 of Hockey Talk on Wisp Sports. I'm Shannon Miller, and at Wisp Sports, we believe women in sport deserve equal coverage. I'm delighted to announce my sponsor, Yugo. Yugo is a company started up by two women who invented a great product that can be valuable to everyone. Let's hear more about Yugo.
Have you ever thought you had the best protection for your phone only to find it failed? Yugo to the rescue, the only waterproof life jacket for your phone using a dry suit zipper closure. Your phone has full functionality while inside, and best of all, Yugo floats. Use promo code HockeyTalk and check us out at yugowear.com. That is UGOWEAR.com.
In today's episode, I will talk about the importance of specialty sessions. Today, specifically working with defensemen. Today's sidebar will be 5 tips to help you be a great mentor. And this week's drill of the week is called No Dust, One-on-One. It's a great drill for defensemen. This drill will be posted on my Facebook page at Coach Shannon Miller on Thursday. Thank you for joining me. I'm honored to have my own hockey podcast show on Wisp Sports and to be part of the most popular and influential podcast organization for women in sports globally. Today's podcast is titled Coaching the Defenseman. Now, when we coach, we talk about whole, part, whole methods. The whole, when you look at the entire game and the team working together. Then we break it down into parts and we teach parts. And then we put it all together as a whole to go in and compete in our games. Today I'm going to talk about specialty sessions because specialty work must be conducted in practice on a regular basis specific to the forwards, specific to the defensemen, and specific to the goaltenders. And that's part of the whole, part, whole, breaking it down into the parts. It's important to work on specialty sessions, and it's important to put them into practice periodically. For example, you could divide the ice into 3 sessions of specialty sessions, a coach in each area. Forwards work together, defensemen work together, and goaltenders work together, and they're specifically working on their own stuff. If you want to do half ice drills with the forwards or half ice drills with the defensemen, then you can divide the ice into 2, have coaches in each end, and in one end you're working with goaltenders and defensemen, and the other end you're working with goaltenders and forwards, and you're doing specific work for each position. Today I'll address working with the defenseman specifically. There is a lot to teach just for that one position, defense. And so today I'll share some important things to pay attention to and teach, and hopefully you can get to all of this during the course of your season as well as build on it. First, I'll address defensemen playing with the puck, attacking. Very important to have good skating skills. Forward, backwards, lateral mobility, tight turns for escapes. Defensemen, it's important they can escape and be evasive with or without the puck, as well as heel-to-heel technique where you open up your hips so that you can see the ice on the breakout or in the neutral zone. So that's playing with the puck, good skating skills. Also playing with the puck, good puck movement, short passes, long passes. When we talk about long passes, I'm talking about cross ice, hard passes, as well as long passes north and south when the forwards want to get in behind your opponent's defenseman for breakaway plays. Forehand passing, backhand passing, one-touch puck movement. We call that no dust. So as soon as the defenseman receives, she can release. Doesn't matter if she's on her forehand or backhand. No dust, one-touch puck movement is extremely important for defensemen. Saucer passes. And of course, making a good first pass on the breakout. Extremely important skill for defensemen to have. Transition puck movement. I talked a little bit about no dust. Same thing in the neutral zone. You're defending. All of a sudden, you've got control. There's been a turnover. You've got control. You want that no dust puck movement transitioning up the ice to offense. So continuing to talk about playing with the puck for defensemen, ready to shoot. I call this lock and load. Makes it kind of fun. It's a term that I use, lock and load. And what they're doing is their stick's about 6 inches off the ice. They're coming in. I'll give you an example. Maybe there's a outside drive net drive, which is a middle drive, and then you got someone driving in the backside of the goalie. So you've got a triple drive. Defenseman joins the rush as a fourth attacker. She's got her stick about 6 inches off the ice, ready to shoot, lock and load, and she shoots off the pass. So she comes in as a fourth attacker. The puck carrier that's outside driving feeds it back to her. She shoots off the pass, front foot, back foot, in stride. It doesn't matter. One-timer is a great skill for the defenseman to have because the goalie doesn't have time to stop and set. So it's a good scoring chance. Deception with the puck is important for defensemen. Looking away and moving the puck somewhere else. Obviously, shooting and shot selection, whether it's a wrist shot, a snap shot, a slap shot. Not only the skills to shoot with this wrist shot, snap shot, and slap shot, but also good shot selection in a game. Are they choosing the right shot to take in that moment? Good puck control is extremely important for defensemen, not overhandling the puck. As players come up through the ranks and they might be one of the best players on their team, it's common for defensemen to overhandle the puck on breakouts. But then when they get to a higher level or they're playing with good players where they should be moving the puck and they're playing against better players where they don't have as much time and space to handle the puck, it's a common problem, overhandling the puck. So you want to teach your defenseman to beat that first forechecker, feet moving, eyes up, and now move the puck quickly to initiate the breakout. And of course, good puck protection skills, playing with the puck. Turning away from pressure, keeping your feet moving, having your eyes up, and making good play versus panicking and just rimming or trying to chip the puck out. Now let's talk about playing without the puck. Defensemen playing without the puck, defending. Again, good skating skills, forward, backward, lateral mobility, transition skating for gap control, heel-to-heel technique to back off a check on the wall and get back on defensive side. Now this is going to be new to some coaches. So the defenseman's going into pressure on the wall. Their check moves the puck and is starting to come off the wall. Defenseman, you don't want to use crossovers to get back. You want to go heel to heel, back. It's like running backwards up a ladder. You're facing your opponent. You've got peripheral vision. The puck's in your peripheral vision. You're staying on defensive side, and your feet come up nice and high. Your toes are out. Your heels are inside, and you're like running backwards up a ladder. Nice high steps. Get back quickly. Stay on defensive side. That's a skill of defending without the puck that you want to work on with your players. Specific to defensemen, mobility is really important, and their ability to move laterally. Good gap control is also very important. Transition skating, gapping up. They don't have the puck. They've got to read the puck carrier, their speed, and they've got to gap up and have a good gap. Ability to read the rush is really important when they're playing without the puck. So reading the rush, here's an example. You're in a situation where you're defending, it's a 3v2, but you're looking past the 3v2 situation, past the attackers to see if your back checker's coming. If you have a tight back checker, that 3v2 becomes a 3v3. And so you have to teach the defenseman how to read that rush, look for that back checker, and then communicate with that back checker. The D tells the back checker who to take, and that 3v2 turns into a 3-on-3. Continuing to talk about defensemen playing without the puck, ability to close the gap and create checking opportunities. So you want to close the gap quickly. That's your skating skills and your balance skills. And then you want to create an opportunity where you can check. You've closed the gap quickly and you're in a position to check and separate the check from the puck. Ability to angle and steer. Extremely important for defensemen, and the ability to contain and pressure. Defensemen have to read, should I angle, steer, should I contain, or should I close the gap quickly, pressure, and make contact? So not only is it the skills to actually physically perform the angling, steering, containing, and pressuring, but it's the ability to read as well and make good decisions. And lastly, good positional play on the wall, in the corners, and net front. Teaching the defenseman what good positional play is on the wall, in the corners, and net front, always staying on defensive side, always recognizing that they have a 2v1, their check and the puck. And if it's a situation where they're going in to close the gap and make pressure, make contact with the puck carrier, now they're just worried about their check, making contact, separating them from the puck, and allowing their teammate second in quick to get possession. Now, coaching philosophies vary. Some coaches like to keep the unit of 5 out on the ice together, and they like to keep them together while they're on the attack and while they're defending. Other coaches like to stretch out the ice and have the unit of 5 spread out. Now, I've talked a lot in my earlier podcasts about stretching the ice by flying the wingers out of the zone. Today, I'm going to talk about keeping the unit of 5 together as they move up the ice. So it's important for defensemen to be able to read the play without the puck. They're anticipating what the opponent's trying to do. It's important for the defenseman to be able to hold the defensive blue line. We call this "don't give them the river." It makes it kind of fun. The blue line, the defensive blue line's a river, and you don't want to let the opponent cross the river. So we call it holding the defensive blue line, don't give them the river. Pressure by closing the gap and checking. You always want your defenseman to be able to close the gap quickly and check, physically check. Transitional play, defending, possession, and quickly create counterattacks. So transitional play means you're defending, you create a turnover, you have possession, and now you quickly want to create a counterattack. Eyes up, awareness, that no-dust puck movement that we talked about earlier. Yes, quick puck movement, and away we go on offense. Now you're on offense, you're in a unit of 5, you're moving up the ice together. You want the defenseman to follow up the attack, to join the rush. And they join the rush, and they come in over in the offensive blue line. They're ready to shoot. They should be prepared to pass. They should be prepared to rebound. They're part of the attack. Now, on the power play, typically the defenseman is the quarterback. Quarterback on the power play needs vision, good puck movement, repeat passes are great on the power play, deception. You don't want the penalty kill to read what you're trying to do and anticipate what you're trying to do. So it's important for that quarterback on the power play to have good vision, good puck movement, use repeat passes, be deceptive, and quality shot selection.
All sports, one voice, we coach. Tune in to the voice of women coaches on the We Coach podcast. This is Wisp Sports.
Now we'll talk about defensemen playing in the different areas of the ice. It's important to develop defensemen in the different areas of the ice: offensive zone, neutral zone, and defensive zone. So first we'll talk about the offensive zone. Playing with the partner. We call this pair play. The puck side D is deeper and ready for pucks up the wall, ready to engage in a high cycle. So the forwards and defensemen use a high cycle, as well as the defenseman should be ready for a forward to come up the wall, come up the ice with the puck, and do a takeover with the defenseman. So the puck side D is a little bit deeper and more active, while the partner, which is the high middle defenseman, is safe. Now, when D1 slides along the blue line with the puck, so the forward has passed the puck up the wall to D1, D1 slides or sprints across the blue line with the puck, it's important for her partner, and this is part of pair play, D2 hinges to support. She doesn't just move lateral with D1 along the blue line. As D1 comes to the middle with the puck, D2 hinges and goes down to the top of the circle, opens up and is ready, lock and load, ready for a shot, ready to pass, ready to rebound. Defensemen in the offensive zone, you want to be ready to shoot quickly, shoot off the pass if you can, and have the ability to shoot off the pass. Quick release shooting in stride while moving makes it a lot more difficult for the opponent to block the shot. Reminder, use repeat passes as part of pair play. Repeat passes and one-time shooting. Defensemen in the offensive zone, be playable. What that means is be reading the play. When there's an opportunity for you to jump in and get involved in the offensive zone, do it. Read the play, get open, be an option, get involved on offense, and be creative and accept the freedom to be interchangeable, be creative, and be part of the offense. Now let's talk about defensemen in the neutral zone. First of all, play with confidence. Always play with confidence in the neutral zone. Step up, close the gap on the attackers. You don't want to just give them the red line, let them cross the red line, put it in deep. Play with confidence. Get up there and don't give them the red line. Make contact at your own blue line. If they've already gained the red line and they're attacking and they haven't dumped the puck, they've gained the red line, they're attacking, and now they're about to hit your defensive blue line. Remember, we call it the river. Make contact at the blue line, at your own blue line. Protect the river. This requires balance, timing, and good skating skills. Defensemen, use the dots as an indicator for yourself. You should typically be inside the dots when you're in the neutral zone. And then you want to work from inside out towards the boards and then get back to the starting position quickly, which is inside the dots. So you're moving back, you're retreating inside the dots, and now you work from inside out. Try to force them up the wall towards the boards and then recover back to your starting position inside the dots. Always work with your partner to have depth so the two of you are not in a straight line straight across. Have depth when you're defending in the neutral zone. Now let's talk about defensemen in the defensive zone. Defensemen, you always want to close the gap quickly. Quick feet, eyes up, good balance. If it's a situation where the defenseman can pressure and engage in battle, meaning go in and separate the player from the puck and allow their teammate to come in for possession, we call that second in quick, then you always want to close the gap quickly, pressure, go engage in battle, separate, and have your teammate come in second in quick and get possession. You hold your check for a second or two and then beat them off the wall. If the opponent has their back to the defender, close quickly. Initiate contact with hands, arms, and upper body, staying strong and balanced, and then pin the opponent using legs and hips. Always stay on defensive side, meaning between the opponent and your goaltender, your net. Always come off the wall and out of the corners quickly, never allowing your check to beat you off the wall, out of the corner, and to the net. That's something defensemen should take great pride in. And if it's a situation where it's smarter for a defenseman to contain, they read the situation and it's not a good time to pressure, okay? Use transition skating. Contain and approach with control. You're still providing pressure, it's just a different kind of pressure. You've chosen to contain, you approach with control, you're waiting for support, and then you'll pounce when the moment is right, making good decisions. When the opponent's coming out of the corner with the puck, and the opponent's coming out with good puck control, if the D is 2 stick lengths away, control skate, but close the gap quickly. And that's what I'm talking about you're not flying in pressuring blind, but you're still closing the gap quickly. You're still providing some pressure, but you're control skating. You're being smart. You stay on defensive side. Have one hand on your stick. One hand off the stick to play the body. And then this is really important. Defensemen, you either want to steer the puck carrier low, below the goal line, or high towards the blue line and the boards. So your job is to steer them one way or the other, and your team that's in behind you reads that, and then they come and support. If your check drives behind the net and the D is a half shaft away, go with your check. Pressure. If you're not close enough to stay with the check, with the puck carrier and pressure, then cut net front, containing the opponent. Do not chase behind the net if you're more than a stick length away. You've got to be in a position to pressure. If you're going to go behind the net, you're staying on her and you're providing pressure. Otherwise, release, cut net front, and now you're containing the opponent. Now, if the opponent is standing behind the net and has full control, be patient. Make sure you have support before you decide to flush them out. You can coordinate with the goaltender. She can use her stick to cut off passing lanes. And you want to pressure them out on their backhand if you can, and then your teammates box it up in behind. Flush the attacker to your partner, flush her out on her backhand, and now your partner will take over pressure and you'll just switch positions. So that was playing defense in all 3 zones. Now we're going to talk specifically about defending one-on-ones. There's a lot of one-on-ones within the game of hockey. So let's first start with some real basic stuff. Defending one-on-ones. Body position. Align the body with the opponent to protect the net. This means your outside shoulder, the outside shoulder of the defenseman versus the inside shoulder of the attacker. That's how they should line up. Defensemen need to anticipate the speed of the offensive player, match the speed, use the stick to influence the attacker in a certain direction, and to challenge the puck at the right time. Defensemen should have their top hand on the stick, their elbow bent, and that increases their potential checking range for the poke check, for example. So they've got the stick in a little bit closer to the body, the elbow is bent. I call it the gun in the holster. Okay, the stick is, and your top hand is on your hip, the gun's in the holster, your elbow's bent, and you're defending, you're controlling, you're matching the speed. And now at the right moment, you want to use the poke check, and you always stay balanced on your skates and don't reach, don't lunge with the poke check. You just extend out that elbow and that arm with your stick and stick on puck while you're still looking at their chest and their hips, and keep the stick out in front of the body and stay balanced. If the attacker drives to the outside with speed, assume inside position and force the puck carrier outside the dots and close the gap while skating backwards. So let them outside drive, you protect the middle of the ice, and you continue to force them outside the dots and then close the gap quickly. When it's time to attack the puck carrier, avoid using a crossover. And coaches, this is really important when you're working with your defensemen. You don't want to use a crossover when it's time they're defending in one-on-one and it's time to now attack the puck carrier. Avoid using the crossover. Use the technique of opening the hips with a heel-to-heel pivot. This allows better balance, and this allows you to be in a better position defensively and to react either way, left, right, forward, backwards. Heel-to-heel pivot. Also, defensemen, when you're defending a one-on-one, have awareness if the puck carrier is on the off wing. And what that means, that would mean someone who's left-handed driving down the right side of the ice, or somebody who's right-handed driving down the left side of the ice. We call that the off wing. So have awareness if the puck carrier is on the off wing, and also be aware of any change of speed. Coaches, we teach the forwards to have a visible change of speed in a one-on-one situation on the attack. Keep a little speed in their pocket, and then change of speed and try to explode past that defenseman. So you've got to teach the defenseman to watch for that change of speed and adjust. Now, if it's a situation where the puck carrier attacks right down the middle of the ice, the defenseman uses a stick and body to force the attacker outside, protecting the prime scoring area. Again, preferably force the attacker to their backhand if you're in a position to read that. Force them to their backhand. It allows a potentially weaker pass or shot off that attacker. So protect the prime scoring area, push them to their backhand, weaken their attack. If the attacker cuts in front of the defenseman, catch up with forward skating. Attempt to lift the stick and deny access to the net. Don't just keep moving backwards and allow a greater gap. Catch up with forward skating. Attempt to lift the stick and deny access to the net. Try to get in between the attacker's stick and the body. When the attacker comes into the zone, their feet are moving, their eyes are up, and they see that you're denying their lane to the net, and the attacker delays. Delay simply means they're turning away from pressure by curling out towards the boards and curling up. Their feet are moving, their eyes are up, they're looking for a lane to attack or a passing option. Defensemen, gap up. Control the gap and keep the attacker to the outside. Again, don't just keep going backwards and allow there to be a greater gap. As soon as they delay and turn away from you, you move up. Move up quickly, be aggressive, control the gap, and keep that attacker to the outside. Step up, close the gap, make direct contacts if you can, so the puck carrier cannot cut to the middle of the ice. Be aggressive. When playing a one-on-one and the puck carrier cuts to the middle of the rink, close the gap. If the attacker slows down, the D must slow down as well to maintain that good gap. Stay with the check and attack the stick. If the attacker crosses up high in the neutral zone or in the defensive zone, and there's not a tight gap, if you and your partner do not have a tight gap on the attackers, just hold your lane and switch checks with your partner. Read the play, have awareness of where your support is and where the other's attackers are at all times. Now, there's much more to playing defense, but this is a good start. Teach your defenders to properly play one-on-ones, two-on-ones, two-on-twos, three-on-twos, etc. And teach your defensemen how to be evasive on the breakout and make a great first pass. Now, today's sidebar, 5 quick tips for being a great mentor. Helping positively shape someone's development is one of the most rewarding things we can do. As mentors, we don't always have the answers, but we can act as a sounding board and guide for the mentees and encourage them to find their own answers. So 5 quick tips. Number 1, listen and observe before advising. This is self-explanatory, extremely important place to start. Number 2, Enable quick wins. What that means is establish some short-term goals and establish those short-term goals together. That will help motivate the mentee as well as provide a measuring stick for some progress. So quick wins, short goals, measuring stick, progress. Number 3, challenge excuses that are clearly excuses. Always have open and honest conversation between the mentor and the mentee, and help the mentee see the situation in a more honest light if you feel that they're providing an excuse and not being honest. Again, open and honest conversation. Number 4, share your experiences. The best training resource a mentor has is basically to offer our own experience. Share the experience with humility and encourage them to learn from their own experiences. And number 5, celebrate progress. Shine the light on their positive changes, embrace their success. It's important to revisit the goals, it's important to talk about the progress, and it's important to celebrate the progress.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
I'd like to thank Chris Stafford at Wisp Sports for doing such a tremendous job with Wisp Sports, supporting women in sport globally. I'd like to thank you, the listeners, and say enjoy the game. Follow and comment on social media. Twitter is at Wisp Sports. My Twitter is at Miller12Shannon. My Facebook and Instagram is at Coach Shannon Miller. My website is CoachShannonMiller.com. You can check out my latest drill of the week. I post them every Thursday on my Facebook page. You can find links in the show notes for this episode at wispsports.com and find more coverage of women's sport. Thank you for supporting women in sport everywhere.